To achieve the gas penetration policy, there is yet a need for the right investment in infrastructure. Paucity of infrastructure has historically hampered the nation in its quest for energy sufficiency and represents a crucial reason why its gas reserves have been untapped for so long.
Nigeria has decided to make gas our bridge, our transition fuel, because we have a lot of gas resources in Nigeria. So, to focus the attention of investors on gas and to focus our effort on the development of gas, we decided to declare year 2020 the year of gas, so that it will allow us to focus on gas development and to monetize our enormous gas resources. Today, Nigeria has about 206 TCF of proven gas reserves.
The future is bright, bright, and bright. Under the committed leadership of the President, His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the steer of the Minister of State, His Excellency Chief Dr. Timothy Silva, and I think all the ingredients of making Nigeria a gas-powered economy is put in place. And we'll continue to grow and develop the markets and ensure that each and every Nigerian derive this benefit of these two gentlemen. You know, the focus of Mr. President, the steer of the Minister of State, I think is the one that is changing the face, migrating the entire Nigerian economy into gas-based. And I can say, which I'm repeating myself, gas is a vehicle for poverty eradication. Gas is a vehicle for generating employment. Gas is a vehicle for freedom for people to really create wealth for themselves. It will definitely bring national security because of the ripple effect of the impact. Because once there is industry, there is job. When there is food security, you have to cook and there is gas. And with the policy and regulatory measures, I can tell you, Nigeria will not only be out of poverty, it will set face for African growth, because we have potential to fuel not only our own economy, but the economy of the entire Africa.
The nation is, however, changing the narratives with its pipeline projects to connect all the nooks and crannies of the country and potentially help the country meet its growing electricity needs in a cleaner and more sustainable manner.
There's been development in the gas main trunk line called the ELPS, which is being looped and then expanded under the government. There is the AKK pipeline, and then there is also all the other gas projects that have been enabled to help support the electricity growth program that we have been running in the country. So from where I sit, I see a very bright future for natural gas development in Nigeria, and the focus of this government in enabling the gas expansion is it is a key ingredient to growing the economy, not just for cleaner fuels, but also given the multiplier effect of gas, because it sort of traverses all aspects of the economy, from power to manufacturing to heating, and naturally to even export for revenue generation. So this will put Nigeria in the right standing amongst Committee of Nations, and then also give us a foothold on our path to the energy transition.
Easily, gas reserves could increase to well over 500 TCF or more, putting us in the top 3, top 4 in the world. So clearly we have the resource, it's there. The other thing is that we have the market, right? It's one of the most populous countries in the world. We've got about close to 200 million people. There's a huge market for products, all sorts of products, name it. there's virtually no product in the world that you make that does not have a contribution of gas in it. I mean, the primary reason for the Nigerian gas sector being one that is potentially attractive to an investor is the quality of the Nigerian gas is very high. So unlike other countries, many competing countries that have a lot of sour gas, which tends to be more expensive to process, Nigerian gas is sweet gas, right? It's very rich in natural gas liquids. And so for a lot of investors, you get the added benefit of producing natural gas for power and all sorts of things, but you're also able to extract natural gas liquids like LPGs and condensates out of Nigerian gas. So your prospect for higher profitability in developing Nigerian gas is reasonably high compared with what could be in other countries. And now in making this, like I said earlier as well, there's a huge local market, but even beyond the local market, there's a huge export potential as well. So when you bring all of those together, there's every reason for the production costs in Nigeria to be competitive globally. So you've got a situation where there's a huge reserve base, there's a very high quality gas, relatively low cost of production, and huge access to market. So those are the things that make it attractive for investors fundamentally.
One of the country's major efforts is the Ajakuta-Kaduna-Kano AKK natural gas pipeline, set for completion in 2023. The AKK is a 614 kilometers pipeline, expected to carry 2 billion scf of gas and supply the northern part of the country and the Sahara.
Look at the AKK, which we have started. It's supposed to be debt equity. We put in our money. All the work you are seeing today on the AKK is our equity injection. So once we begin to show confidence that you can put in equity and drive your project, investors will rush in because you have de-risked the project. So there are many models we are doing to attract investment, and investments are coming, especially on the gas space. We just took FID of Brass Fertilizer, a $3.5 billion activity in Brass. It will bring about 2 methanol plants, and in future we are going to have fertilizer, petrochemical plant, and a whole of industries in the park. So that project has already taken FID, where investors are knocking at our door to bring in money in order to realize the project. So the country is actually attracting a lot of investment, especially in the gas space.
This is to ensure the penetration of gas in the country, both LPG and other forms of gas-related products that come out of the refining of gas itself. So NCDMB has been in the forefront since that pronouncement was made by the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources by setting up of the NGEP, the Nigerian Gas Expansion Program. We've taken advantage of it and we've keyed into it seriously. Today we've gone into partnerships with a lot of private businesses to develop the gas infrastructure as well as ensure the penetration of LPG in our country today.
Shell Nigeria Gas, our growth plans is still very aggressive. Like I sort of told you earlier, we're looking at new areas that we can get gas to in Nigeria. A lot of the areas in the Delta, we're also looking at the Middle Belt and also the Northern area where we're trying to sort of clearly quantify what the market is.
The project is spearheaded by the government and funded by China's Belt and Road Initiative. The government hopes it will connect the country's gas supply to other parts of the continent through the planned trans-regional and intercontinental pipelines, such as the Trans-Saharan Gas Pipeline, to help open up access to Northern Africa and some parts of Europe.
So, I mean, the AKK, of course, is big and new and shiny. We're all looking at it because it takes gas to a new region in Nigeria. Of course, we have the WACP line, which I spoke about. The WACP line is an extension of the Alps, but it takes gas to Ghana, Lome, to go across the West African sub-region. We need to look at how we can fill that line with gas and see whether we can not supply gas even to other countries in West Africa. In country, there is the important sort of OB-OB link. Today, a lot of the gas resources sit in the east, as you would expect, because the east and the southeast is south is where a lot of the gas resources are. But there's a lot of demand in the west. That link between the east and the west is not there. And the OB-OB line, when completed, would allow gas to flow from Bayelsa to Lagos, if that is where the demand is. It would also allow gas to flow from Delta to Bayelsa without interruption, if that is where the demand is. So that interconnect between the eastern part of Nigeria, and east there goes all the way to south-south, and the west, where there's significant development needs to happen. And that's the key strategic incentive for the OB-OB line.
The government has outlined its plans to expand Nigeria's natural gas pipeline network as the country aims to meet domestic gas demands. With the existing Excavus Lagos Pipeline System (ELPS) and its second phase, as well as the all-important Obiafu-Obricom-Oben Pipeline Project, otherwise known as OB3, which is to transport gas from the eastern part of the country to the western part of the country and vice versa. These investments are targeting a transformation from the traditional petrol to power to an integrated gas to power plant along their route.
Without a doubt, the AKK is a welcome development. As I earlier said, there is need to reticulate the northern part of the country. There's just massive bandwidth in terms of industrializing Nigeria, in terms of ways we can start looking at how we benefit tremendously from developing gas infrastructure. I haven't even talked about the transportation sector as it relates to the railway lines. We're still building or still thinking most of the railway projects are still going to be running on locomotives that are fueled by diesel, right? And this just gives you an indication of how massive this opportunity is. We need solid transportation, call it strategy that sort of feeds or is well integrated with what we're doing across the energy space, gas and otherwise. We need to bring it all together. But these are all very welcome projects, but they need to be very well thought out strategically. Demand studies are definitely needed in a way where you can actually, to sort of, bring in participation from the private sector, where private sector can readily look at demand concentration across the country and know exactly where to site investment, right?
The only solution we have in the near term is gas, displacing diesel generation and LPFO in heavy industries and so on and so forth. Then talk about, I've talked about fertilizer and agriculture, gas to heavy industries, gas for electricity and electricity for industry and so on. So you can see that the gas value chain goes beyond just any money. The multiplier effect on the larger economy is humongous. So if we get the gas value chain right, our economy will kickstart in a manner that oil has never been able to do.
We need to be innovative around how the average Joe on the street gets or is able to afford the cylinder. I know there are all sorts of thoughts and initiatives around that in a way that the common man can afford these cylinders. There's need for massive investment in the skids to move compressed natural gas from one point to the other. There's an additional requirement for investment for additional mother station capacity in different hubs in the country. The southwest regions have sufficient compressed natural gas facilities, but of course in the north, Nigeria is one country, and our unity, in my view, we need to take cognizance of it. And if there's restiveness in the north, it's predominantly because of inadequate infrastructure and job opportunities. So we need to think about how we bring every part of the country together by making the requisite investment in the right infrastructure. So it's predominantly storage, it's predominantly pipeline reticulation, it's predominantly skids, and it's predominantly even energy infrastructure, so by the electricity infrastructure, so that these different communities are fully reticulated in some way or the other.
For instance, the AKK is designed to supply feedstock to 3 gas-to-power plants located in Abuja, Kaduna and Kano, which are expected to deliver a combined power generation capacity of 3.6 gigawatts of electricity. A quick peek into some of the gas pipeline in the country. Ex-Cravos Lagos Pipeline, Ibadan-Jeba Pipeline, ELPS, Ibadan, 36 by 82 kilometers. Obiafu Obricom Oben OB3 Pipeline, 130 kilometers, 2 billion scoff. Ex-Cravos Lagos Pipeline Phase 1, 56 kilometers, 0.8 billion scoff. Ex-Cravos Lagos Pipeline Phase 2, 334 kilometers, 1.1 billion scoff. West Africa Gas Pipeline, 678 kilometers, 0.17 billion scoff. Initial, 0.47 billion scoff at peak post-compressors installation. The proposed OSO platform to QIT pipeline, 50 kilometers. The proposed offshore platform to QIT pipeline, 50 kilometers. The Trans-Saharan Gas Pipeline, with a length of 4,128 kilometers, will pass from Kano at the terminal point of the AKK through Niger Republic and will terminate at Algeria.
So based on that, you could now take a domestic gas supply, because in order to address issues around lack of supply to the domestic market, you needed to make that gas commercial. So we determined its commerciality and then imposed the domestic supply obligation. That domestic supply obligation essentially was to target a minimum of 30 TCF of gas.
This is the sort of intervention that you need. A deliberate policy, hopefully we will get that with the Decade of Gas agenda, that will put in place the right fiscals, just clarity that an investor needs to come in and make the right investment, so that the gas reserves of rich gas reserves in Nigeria can be monetized. But this policy came in response to what was then an environmental problem, gas flaring. That is what led to the policy of Nigeria LNG, where the government said we will try and deal with the issue of gas flaring by a major intervention, and an LNG intervention was desired. And apart from that, we will also earn money from this, which is why it was an export-oriented project. Because if it's export-oriented, you will earn the revenues you need for any domestic interventions.
Equally, the NLNG is bringing on stream the $10 billion Train 7 project, which is expected to increase output by 35% from 22 million tons per annum to 30 million tons per annum. NLNG has continued to set the pace from its humble beginning in 1995, when FID on its Train 1 and 2 was taken to the delivery of Train 7 with 35% increase in capacity, delivery of over 4,000 LNG cargo milestone, and generation of over $20 billion for the government in revenue, and expected to generate 40,000 indirect jobs for Nigerians. Since inception, the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG), which contributes about 1% to GDP, has generated $114 billion in revenue over the years, $9 billion in taxes, $18 billion in dividends to the federal government, and $15 billion in feed gas purchase.